I make 3K per day profit with my OnlyFans agency. I'm going to go step by step through exactly how my agency is structured and how I do things at each level of the business so that you can copy me exactly. And I'm going to be sharing resources and everything that I do along the way so that you can take inspiration, you can copy it, and you can scale your OnlyFans agency. So let's just get straight into it. On this side, we've got 99% of agencies, and they're just a mess. So why are they a mess? They don't have systems. They rely on the owner or the CEO, which could be you, to do pretty much all the work within the agency, to market the models, to give feedback to the chatters, just all these different things. They rely on the owner. If they're not relying on the owner, the agency isn't relying on the owner, then the owner's micromanaging all these staff and they're using up all their time rather than having systems in place at each level of the business so that the business can run without them. So let's get into how we do this as a more structured agency so that we can scale past 10, 20, 30, 50, 100K a month and go into the hundreds of thousands a month. So for model recruitment, we want all of these areas systemized and optimized to ensure that our lead flow and lead generation is as good as possible, because if we don't have models coming through the front door, if we don't have models wanting to work with us, then we can't really grow the business. We can grow it with marketing our current models, but we want new models coming through the door so we can grow exponentially, because as we get more models, we can provide a good service to them by having a solid back end in place that will run them and create maximum impact on their account. Then they'll be happy with the results. They'll refer more models and the agency will grow exponentially rather than just being stuck with the same few models. But we need to focus on how we can get as many models through the front door as possible, not just as many as possible, but high quality models. So let's get into it. And I think it's very important to mention first that most agencies shouldn't even do this yet, because they need to focus on the back-end infrastructure of their agency. They need to focus on delivering a better service so that their current clients are happy and they can bring in referrals, and their current clients are having the maximum impact delivered on their accounts as possible, and that you're maximizing their potential before you even think about signing more models. But how do we go about doing model recruitment as a structured agency? So we want to have all these areas optimized. Like I said, we want inbound optimized, which is your personal brand if you have one, and the agency page that you have on Instagram, or you can have a few. We want outbound as optimized as possible and scaled as big as possible, which is growth operators and cold outreach across all platforms. And then we also want to maximize our referrals that we're getting. How do we do that? We need a referral scheme for your current models, and we need to incentivize them to recruit more models. But the key to all of that is providing the best possible service for them. If you're not providing a good service for them, your models, then you're not going to get any referrals. They're not going to want to bring other people into your agency, and they're probably going to look for another agency and that can deliver them a better service. So we need to get the service delivery on point so we can maximize your model's potential, and we need to maximize the impacts that you can have as an agency on their account to deliver good service. And we need to focus on how we can maximize the impact that you deliver on their account, how you market them, how your chatting is on their page, everything. We need it as perfect as possible so they're actually happy with the service they're getting. Otherwise, they're not going to be bringing you any referrals. And if you focus on these other areas like outbound and inbound, then it's just going to break the business, because your fulfillment and your back end will not be able to keep up with the front end. Next, we've got referrals. But before we even focus on referrals, we need to focus on the infrastructure of the back end. And this goes for all of model recruitment. You should not be focused on this if you can't deliver a good service to your clients. You shouldn't be focusing on recruitment at all if your back end isn't systemized and you're removed from it, so that you can focus on the front end as hard as possible, which is what you want to do as a business owner, so that you can generate as many leads as possible, you can sign as many clients as possible, and you've got the back end infrastructure to keep up with no matter how many models you put into your system, let's call it, as an agency. But once you've got the back end in place to a good standard, you're delivering really good results for your clients, then they're going to want to bring you referrals, and you're going to want to incentivize your existing models to bring referrals through a referral program, so that you maximize your model recruitment. But how do we improve our agency infrastructure on the back end so that we're able to really focus on the front end and focus on model recruitment? So let's get into it. So traffic here. So firstly, we need all of these traffic sources nailed, systemized, ideally not you doing them either. We need someone else handling all these traffic sources, and we need systems in place and strategies for all these platforms so that we can maximize our impact to our models as an agency and deliver them the best results possible. So what platforms have we got? We've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, we've got Threads, we've got Snapchat, we've got YouTube, we've got Reddit, we've got TikTok and TikTok Live, and we've got Shout for Shout. And until you've got all of these on point and being run to a good level for your models, there's no point focusing on model recruitment, because you're not going to be providing a good enough service. You also want yourself removed from all of these areas, because if you're doing Snapchat, Threads, Twitter, Instagram, Shout for Shout Out, TikTok, Reddit and YouTube for your models, then you're going to have no time and you're not going to be able to focus on this. And like I said, our goal as an agency owner is to remove ourselves from the back end, which is fulfilling the service for the models, while still providing a really good service to the models by just having really good back end infrastructure. So we're providing amazing results for our models without us spending really any time on it, so that we can focus on model recruitment, so we can bring more models into the agency, and without the back end breaking, and it's still providing good quality results and providing the maximum impact that we can for any models that come into our agency. So for traffic, if you don't want to do all of these or hire out all of these roles and systemize them, make strategies, etc., then I've got my Growth Accelerator. This is a Telegram group, and we've pretty much got all areas of marketing covered for you and your agency. If you want, you can come to us and you can pretty much outsource all your marketing to us on any platforms. If, for example, you don't know how to run Snapchat, we can do that for you. If you don't know how to run YouTube, we can do that for you. Contact me on Instagram, it'll be in the description, and we'll talk about how we can work together. I'm not going to go too into depth with what it is, because if you're interested in outsourcing some of your marketing for your models and getting them better results than you maybe could, and you don't want to spend time on hiring the positions, etc., then get into contact with me and we'll talk. Here's what most agencies do. So they've got a traffic source, obviously, brings subscribers through to the OnlyFans, which creates cash for them as the agency owner. And then this all gets spent on bottle shows and cars and watches. You see it. And it's sort of the culture of this industry, I think, a bit, to just spunk all the money that you make on useless shit and not reinvest anything. Because it's such a good cash flowing business, you don't need to reinvest too much and still have the business stable. But we don't want to just keep the business stable. We want to reinvest and just compound the agency over time and gain an advantage on our competitors, so that we can, when we focus on model recruitment, which, like I said, is the goal, then we actually stand out and we're not commoditized as an offer in the agency market. So here's the better way to do it. So we've got traffic sources, bringing subscribers to the OnlyFans. This creates cash, which we also spend on bottle shows, but we also reinvest some of the cash that's generated from our agency into virtual assistants. This is across all areas, but we really want to systemize that back end and remove ourselves from the service delivery element of the business while still providing a good service, because you don't need to do all the posting to provide a good service. You don't need to do all the scheduling of posts on OnlyFans and mass messages to provide a good service. So we want to outsource all of that, and we want to reinvest into virtual assistants and building the business infrastructure so that the back end can handle as many models as possible that we can pump into the agency, and we can focus on the front end as hard as possible, and there's no limits on what the back end can handle. We also want to focus on reinvesting our cash into business assets, for example, Instagram accounts, Twitter accounts, things like that, which we can then grow over time, and it'll give us an advantage over other agencies. For example, if you've got a Bay page with 1 million followers and you're trying to sign a model, and you can say you'll get shout outs every month on this Bay page, then you're going to instantly have an advantage over most agencies which don't have anything unique to offer. We want to be able to offer a better service than other agencies, and to do that, we're going to need to reinvest cash. And if you're still there thinking that you can sign super high quality models without having anything different about your agency and just providing chatting, posting on Instagram, posting on TikTok, then you're going to get left behind, especially in 2025, as the shitter agencies are going to get left behind as models realize that there's better agencies out there that can provide a better service. So going from traffic into the chatting system. So here's an illustration I made of the average subscriber's chat inbox on OnlyFans. So this is the top position, and this is who catches their eyes first. And then this is your model 2 hours after a mass message, already going down the inbox, already not the first person the subscriber sees when he opens the OnlyFans app or website. Then this is 4 hours after, this is 6 hours after, this is 8 hours after, and 10 hours after, your model isn't even on the screen. So how do we fix this? How do we make it so your model's at least in these top 3 slots here, ideally, so that the subscriber will actually see your model and won't see all the other models they're subscribed to and respond to them first? And then this is another example of the OnlyFans feed. This is who catches subscribers' eye first, and then this is your model 2 hours after a post, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, etc. When the subscriber opens a platform, we want to be as high up in their inbox and on their feed as possible so that they don't miss us. They don't forget that your model exists. And even if they talk to other models, they're in love with other models, your model pops up and they're always high up there. So they're always getting reminded, and your model slips into their subconscious and they think about your model. They think about your model more than another model who's always off the bottom of their screen when it comes to them opening their OnlyFans. So how do we do this? We want your model in the top spots here 24/7. And this is a common mistake I see agencies make all too often, which is that they send out one mass message per day, they do one post a day, sometimes less. And you're just losing out on so much money and so many subscribers that are going to go to other models because your model's going to be off the screen or too far down in their inbox and in their feed, lower than we want. So, and what are the advantages of making sure we're in these top 3 positions? Increased traffic for subscribers, decreased chance of subscriber falling in love with another model, decreased chance of subscriber spending on another model. We want your model in them top 3, and your agency is going to run a lot better. You're going to get better chat ratios. I could go so much deeper into other aspects of chatting, but I thought for this video, we'll just talk about this because it's a mistake that I see too many agency owners make. Most agency owners have got okay chatting, they've got okay systems within their chatting department of their agency, but they send out one mass message per day, they post once daily, and it's not enough to get as many subscribers messaging your model as possible, which is what we want to extract as much money as possible out of them. So how do we do that? You need to post more and you need to schedule more mass messages, but in a way so that your subscribers don't feel spammed, especially your big spenders. And if you want to know how you can do that, then message me on Instagram. I'll give you my SOPs for how to schedule posts on OnlyFans and mass messages to maximize chat and traffic without pissing any subscribers off, without coming off as spammy, which is another mistake that a lot of agencies make, is they post and schedule too many mass messages and they do it in the wrong way. They schedule the wrong type of mass messages and it just fucks up the account. Subscribers feel spammed and they lose that conversion rate of people seeing the mass message to people replying because they just feel spammed. So message me on Instagram and I'll share that with you. Going into chat recruitment here. So most agencies, this is what happens. They need a chatter, they make a job post in Telegram, Upwork, Online Jobs PH, whatever it is. They get a few applicants. They have to put them through a really time consuming training. And then 3 to 5 days later, they hire a chatter. It's time consuming, it's slow, and it's labor intensive, especially if you as the agency owner are doing all of the training. It's not the best system, there's better ways to do it. Here's what we do. We have automated job posts, so these go out into everywhere where good chatters are going to be, very regularly, usually daily, across all of these different channels, around 10 different channels. These job posts will get posted daily. We get a shit ton of applicants every day. Not me personally, but obviously my chat manager handles this. But even if you do it yourself, you're going to create a much better infrastructure. It's going to be a lot easier to find good chatters. It's going to be a lot easier to train a new chatter when needed. You're not going to have to go through posting a job, getting few applicants and not having many to be able to choose from. You want as big a pool as possible of chatters to choose from when you need a new team of chatters for a new model, for example. And this way we get a shit ton of applicants every single day. Then we put them through the vetting process, make sure they're up to a good standard already before we get started. If they are, then we put them through an automated training. So this will be a paid training for them that's fully automated. We're removed from it so that we don't have to focus on, it just takes us less time and we can put as many chatters as possible through this automated training. And we know that by the end of that, they're going to be trained up to a good standard. Without us having to put any time into it or not much time at all. And then after this, we'll always have 10 plus fully trained, qualified and highly skilled chatters ready to go whenever needed. It's a lot less labor intensive, it's automated for the most part, it's fast, and there's always chatters ready. If you sign a new model, you need to build a new chatting team, you don't have to do this and spend your whole next week training up new chatters, finding new chatters. There's always chatters there ready that might need a little bit of fine tuning, but they're pretty much ready. And there's tons of applicants this way, so there's a much bigger pool of chats to choose from, which is what we want, so we can choose the best chats. So automation and hiring, this is another level down on the pyramid. We've got the traffic right, we've got subs flowing into the model's account, we've got the chatting right, which is a lot deeper than what I've just said, but we'll leave it at that. We'll go into depth on both these topics more in future videos. Now we need to focus on automation and hiring so that we can remove ourselves from the back end, from the service delivery element of the business, and we can focus on the front end of our business and bring in more models in so we can grow the business. So here's how I would structure it. I don't know why that thumbs up thing's come on the screen. I think because I put my thumb up. Start with at the middle of the agency, and all of these are lines of communication. So we've got a line of communication from yourself, the agency owner, to the marketing department or marketing management, whatever you want to call it. And this area of the business handles YouTube growth, Instagram growth, gathering inspo for the models, Twitter growth, content editing and repurposing, Threads growth, Snapchat growth, and TikTok growth. Also share for share. And I think that's it. I'm not sure if there's any marketing platforms that I missed there, but we want the marketing part of our business to be able to handle all these areas so that we don't have to focus on doing it and posting, anything like that, editing the model's content. We don't want the model to be doing any of this stuff either, like posting on Instagram, editing her content, because that time she can spend to make more content, which you as the agency owner can use to make more money by just hiring someone else to do the content editing and all of these things, which a lot of agencies have their models do. A lot of agencies have their models post on TikTok, for example. There's no point. Your model's time should be spent purely on making content, because as an agency owner, you and your staff, your teams, can do everything else. The only thing you can't do is make content. So everything apart from making content, like content editing, posting on all these platforms, you want to do and you want your teams to do. So that's marketing. Then we've got chat management, which handles model content feedbacking, is in content that's for the chats, scripts. Chatter recruitment admin. So all of this stuff I said here, like I said, it's pretty automated, but obviously someone's got to schedule the job posts, someone's got to respond to the chatters and put them through the automated training, even though they don't really have to do much, just sort of have to say, go through this and you will get paid. But all the admin to do with that, script writing, chatter feedback, and chatter quizzes and additional training. This is what your chat management department handles, and it's pretty simple. You need systems for all of these. Same with everything here. You need systems for all of it so that your staff know exactly what they're doing to do it to a good standard. Because even though we want to remove ourselves from the back end of the business, we still want everything to be done at just as high a standard as it was when you were doing it or if you were doing it. And the way we do this is by building systems for all of these areas. So we've got the admin area of your business. So this does content organization. So we don't want the models having to organize their own content in any way. What I do for my agency is they have two folders, an OnlyFans uploads folder and a socials upload folder. They upload it to one of these two, and then from there, assistant organizes all of it, puts it where it needs to go, shares it with whoever needs to see it, and from there it gets used on all of these marketing platforms, and all of the chatting it gets organized into folders in the vault, all of that. So we want content organization done by someone else. Bots and automation maintenance, so all the automations you have running within your agency, all of the bots you have running for the front end, back end, whatever it is, we want them to be maintained by someone else other than ourselves. It's an admin task. Content scraping, so for example, if you sign a new model, you want to use their vault, what's in their vault on OnlyFans for Twitter, you need someone to screenshot through all of their content that can be used for Twitter from the OnlyFans, or scraping from the OnlyFans vault anything that can be used for Instagram stories, anything that can be used for Instagram posts. You don't want to do that, but it needs to be done so that you can maximize your impact you can have for the model and you can maximize their potential. It's an admin task, it should be done by someone else. And then we've got post and mass message scheduling as well. Again, you need systems for all of these, and you need to hire people or someone that can do all of these areas so that you're not doing it yourself. You can focus on the front end and really grow the business. And then we've got recruitment management. So Instagram outbound accounts creation and warm up, personalized outreach messages, Twitter outbound, lead scraping, and Google SEO. We need people and systems for all of these areas, again, so that even though we're focusing on the front end, like I said, ideally. We've got someone to help us with all these areas, and ultimately, if you've systemized all this, all of this, all of this, and all of this to a good standard, everything's optimized, and you can remove yourself from the business fully. You can spend pretty much no time on the business and it'll grow itself, because you'll have lead flow coming into the agency, you'll have traffic to your model's pages, and you're delivering maximum impact on their front end, their marketing. Then you're maximizing the chatting potential of each model and sales on the back end of their pages. And then all the other admin work you don't need to do. You can remove yourself from the agency and you can focus on other things like how you're going to grow beyond this. And you can just optimize it further. So wealth and asset building, we're on to the next level of the pyramid now. So most agencies, OnlyFans management generates cash, it goes into personal spending, and it goes into taxes. Here's a better way to do it. OnlyFans management generates cash, goes into personal spending, goes into buying social media accounts, goes into mentorship, buying private groups, consulting, things like that to improve your network, to get access to high quality information on how to scale your agency. And you can also use the cash flow from OFM to buy equity in other agencies, which long term will have a payoff, especially if you know how to implement systems like this and just maximize the potential of the agency that you're buying equity in. Because if you've got a systemized way of how to grow an agency, because you've done it yourself, for example, I know how I grew my agency, I knew how I built it to this level where I'm removed from the agency and it grows itself, and everything's systemized, everything's optimized, then you can do that for other agencies, you'll grow them in turn, and you'll make a return on your investment. So this is the better way to do it, and I'm not sure if you've noticed, but there's no taxes on this one as well, because you really need to optimize your taxes, and you shouldn't be paying taxes, especially if you're in Europe. Taxes are crazy high, and you need to figure out how you can not pay taxes legally, obviously, but you need to figure out how to not pay taxes so that you can use that cash, which maybe 50% of what you earn, into buying social media accounts, mentorship, private groups, consulting, buying equity in other agencies, so that long term you can grow your OFM operation and your wealth more and more. Then we've got the last step. So we've done all these steps above, we've got to do everything better. If you've done all of this in chatting system, I really didn't go over much of how chatting works at all. For traffic, if you've optimized all of these different traffic sources, if you've hired out all of these areas, they're all systemized, then you need to focus on optimizing it further, because there's no end goal or there's no end point for an OnlyFans management on systemizing and optimizing their whole agency, chatting and marketing, because it's an ever-changing industry. You've got to adapt to survive in this industry, and things have got to get optimized constantly as social media platforms change, and it's just constant work to stay ahead of all the trends and stay on top of what's the latest on each platform. So you've got to do everything better. You've got to break limiting beliefs, because a lot of people think that 500k plus per month with OnlyFans is impossible for them, when in reality to the OnlyFans market that's nothing. And you've got to develop yourself personally so that you've got the potential to be able to scale past all of this and scale your agency further. So if you're interested in how you can actually implement this within your agency, or you're interested in how you can outsource any of your models marketing for any platform here, Instagram, OnlyFans, YouTube, Snapchat, Threads, Reddit, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, whatever platform, then get into contact with me on Instagram. It'll be in the description, and we'll talk about how we can work together to grow your agency. Or if you want any of the SOPs or resources that I mentioned in this video, or anything else, just message me on Instagram. I'll be happy to talk with you, help you with your agency, and help you get started if you've not run an OnlyFans agency before. But yeah, hopefully you got some value out of this video.